Welcome back to the Female CEO Summit. I'm your host, Janine Worth, trauma expert, helping female entrepreneurs to heal so that they can have the spectacular success they desire. My next guest is Tricia Scott. She is the founder and editor of the Female CEO, Create, Evolve, Overcome, which is a platform and digital magazine holding the space to showcase female entrepreneurs from all over the world. The Female CEO is gaining global recognition daily, and Tricia is able to bring her own expertise as a mentor and multi-company director to her very exclusive table, along with a team of brilliant guest editors and bloggers. Welcome, Tricia. I'm so happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get into speaking about the magazine and the digital space that you've created, can you please tell us a bit about your own entrepreneurial journey?
Yes, of course. I've always been entrepreneurial, actually. I think ever since I was just a bit bossy when I was younger.
Leadership skills.
I always knew I was going to be a boss somewhere down the line. But basically, I've worked in the property sector for 16 years, and I worked my way up from a data entry clerk when I started to company director.
Wow.
And it took me about 10 years, but that was 10 years of serious hard work. And I still run my property company. I'm still part of that. And somewhere along the line, I decided I got quite interested in personal development, mostly because running a team of people, both male and female, there's always a need in teams to keep the morale up. And at the time, I think it was sort of opportune for me to explore that a little bit further. I hadn't done any personal development before, so I went off and got myself a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to explore the world of female entrepreneurship and personal development. From then on, I developed a real interest in working with women in particular, so much so that I eventually joined an organisation as a franchisee and started a local group in Newcastle, where I live. And we had about 30 women in our group, and we used to do different topics each month. So we'd do business related, we'd do personal development topics, we covered everything. We'd have speakers, that sort of thing. And that in itself was great. We had such a great time. We used to do we did a lot of singing and dancing in our group, actually. It was a lot of fun to be around. But what I found was women were coming along, because it was local, women were coming along and our group was growing. But I felt like it wasn't big enough. Everyone wanted to be involved, but sometimes people couldn't travel, or it was, the time wasn't right. So I decided to launch something new. And being the entrepreneur that I am, I decided that I would do this myself, and I wanted to take it globally, because locally is great. Meetups are great. I mean, they're a great way to get to network in your local area if you've got a specific type of business, of course. But I just felt that this was something it was bigger than what I was creating, and it could be bigger than what I was creating. Yeah. So the Female CEO was born basically from that. And it was only ever intended to be, an entrepreneur's kind of forum, if you like. And originally it was going to be a Facebook page and a forum that people could come and ask questions and talk to each other and network from. But yeah, it went a bit crazy after that.
And that's something that really impressed me, because you started out the Female CEO just a year ago with 0 followers, and you've grown that to 15,000 in 1 year. One thing helped you to grow your online following the most?
One thing, Janine, that's tough. Well, first of all, I had 1 follower I had 2 followers when I started, actually. I had my mum, mm-hmm. who was my original follower, and a girl that I work with. She was my original follower. If you're asking me which one thing, I would say good quality engagement and actually talking to people. It's very easy to put out content. I don't think that's difficult. There's so much out there on the internet. There's so much content. There's so many pieces of advice. But to actually sit down and have a conversation with someone and make them feel special as a one-to-one, and look for real good quality engagement rather than just trying to get everybody involved. It was always very important to me that people felt like when they became part of my community, they really were part of something. They weren't just another number. Yeah. So I think having that good quality engagement in the beginning and really talking to people one-on-one and putting out my own personal experiences within the group and on our social pages really, really helped. I think people resonated with that. And a lot of our followers now are word of mouth. You know, have you heard about this? Have you read this article? People sharing things. And when I engage, you know, much like when I've talked to yourself, before I engage with anyone to guest edit or guest blog or anything on our site, I have a conversation, a face-to-face, doesn't matter where you are in the world. I will sit down on your time zone and have a face-to-face conversation with you, because only then can I decide if you're right for my audience. Yeah. And that's very important to me. And I think knowing your values and portraying that with good quality engagement to your followers, even if it's just one or two of them, makes all the difference.
Yeah. No, I love that. And you do that really, really well. So what's the most exciting project you've been involved in for your business?
Oh, again, there's been a few. You keep asking me for one thing. This is tough. There's been, if I'm allowed, I'll take two. Okay. Two of them are kind of in one anyway. First of all, when I started the Female CEO, like I said, I was originally running a physical group. So I have literally no website building experience, none, nothing at all. But everything you see on my site, on the Female CEO, was put there by me. Wow. I built it, I designed it. You know, that my blood, sweat and tears are on the website. They really are. And while it was quite tough, there was a lot of YouTube videos watched and a lot of tutorials read. But while it was tough, it was really exciting, because now when I go on and I look at it, I just love it. And I know that I built that, I created that. And similarly, I can put my hand on my heart and say to all of those startups and those women out there who are watching this now and thinking, yeah, but I can't do that. Believe me, you can, because I didn't think I could do it either. And the reason I didn't hire a designer, when I quite frankly could have done, and at some points wished I had, was because I always wanted to be able to say to the women in the community, actually, you can do this. So that to me is still really exciting, and I'm still learning and I'm still developing and I'm still putting new content on the site. And every time I do it, I get that little buzz because it was me. The other thing would be launching the magazine. So from the site, we launched CEO magazine. CEO is Create, Evolve, Overcome. That's the CEO part of our business. So launching the magazine again I do it all myself. You know, I design it, I put the content in there, I speak to everyone, I vet the content, everything. So any typos that you see in that magazine, my mistake, no one else's. But that was really exciting, actually, developing the magazine. And because it was never intended to be the digital publication that it's become, it was designed to be a roundup of each month's content to go just to the community. But the women, the feedback I got from the women was like, we want more of this. Where can we get this magazine? How can we read this magazine if we're not in the community? Well, the answer to that is, of course, come and join the community, because it's free. And we welcome all new members. But also, it gave me the confidence actually to make it a bit, to stretch the content more. It pushed me that little bit further. And the magazine has been the latest really big development for our business.
It's amazing. And I can vouch for the fact that it's an amazing publication, and you should all be signed up to that.
I love that magazine. I read my magazine. I write it and I still sit down and read it because I love it.
What has been your toughest situation to face as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it?
I would say, talking about my entrepreneurial journey overall, it's been time. Oh my goodness, time. Because I run two other businesses as well as the Female CEO. For me, in the beginning, because I wanted to do so much so quickly and I wanted to develop it, and it's that thing of excitement versus passion as well. You know, excitement will see you through a very short period. Passion is the longevity of it.
Yeah.
So in my excitement when I started the business, I was knocking myself out, like literally working through the night, waking up through the night with ideas, had my, my phone and my notes next to my bed, because it was exciting. It was great. But before long, I was completely knackered, to be honest. I was absolutely shattered. So I think for me, that was my toughest challenge in the beginning. My learning, of course, particularly actually, and this happens to me all the time because of the type of community that we run. Our community is full of amazing people, men and women. But I meet these people who they just knock my socks off all of the time, and I'm always learning something from them. So what I've learned from our community more than anything is how to chill out and know that it doesn't all have to be done today.
Yes.
So I think for me that my biggest challenge has always been time. But my biggest learning is that there's plenty of it.
Yes.
And actually just to learn to take a step back. And one of the things that really helped me with that, and I don't know if you're something that your community might be interested in, is there's a book by Courtney Carver called Soulful Simplicity. She's a minimalist blogger, and I found her on a documentary, and actually she's actually allowed us to use some of her blogs, so some of her stuff's on the site. But that book is amazing. It's anybody who's running themselves crazy, get yourself a copy of the book. It's great.
Perfect. And I love that you talk about time and that impatience, because I think that's one of the greatest and worst gifts of people who are entrepreneurs, is that impatience. Definitely. And wanting to get it done, because that's how we get ahead.
Yeah.
But knowing when to draw the line and say, okay, now I'm putting my phone off, I'm shutting down for the weekend or anything like that. So that's
it's balance. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the first thing you check within your business daily?
It has to be emails. I always check my emails first thing, because my community is all over the world. My guest editors and my bloggers are all over the world. So emails come in at all times of the day and night, depending on time zones. So I always like to get up in the morning, first things first. I always make coffee first. And then I sit down and I go through my emails and I get back to anybody that I can, obviously, at that time in the morning, which is another reason why my phone goes on silent. My emails go on silent at about 9 o'clock at night, and they're off until the morning.
Perfect. So what 3 things do you need as a business owner in your marketplace to be successful?
Definitely communication skills. Because as an entrepreneur, and also because of the marketplace that I'm in, where I deal, we deal with other entrepreneurs all over the world all of the time, you have to be able to sit down and actually have a proper conversation with someone. It's not, and because of our members are all at all different stages of their business, so it's being able to work on all levels with all people, definitely. And taking that time, like I said earlier, to actually properly sit down, have face-to-face conversations with people, rather than just, quick message here, quick email there, quick comment here or there on the blog. And if someone comments on anything on our site or on our social, I always do my absolute best to get back to them as soon as I can. I think on the site, on our communications page, it says something like, sadly, I'm not Wonder Woman, as much as I would love to be. I will read your email personally, and I do. I read every email personally, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So I do set a level of expectation. But communication skills, I think, are an absolute must in our business, for any entrepreneur, actually. Yeah. The second one would be patience. Exactly what you said earlier. Being an entrepreneur, the excitement and the drive is what will get you ahead, which is great. But knowing that for me, it's always been quality over quantity. So 15,000 members to me is amazing. In all honesty, it could probably be 30, 40 or 50 if I was just throwing out content all of the time. But for me personally, I'm not prepared to do that. That's not what my business is about. So it could be more, but the quality of what I put out it's better for me to have 15,000 members engaging really well and really getting something from it, than it is to have 50,000 members and nobody reading it.
Yeah.
It's just being a number. So patience. And I think the third thing is the ability to think differently. As an entrepreneur, the big difference between an entrepreneur and a non-entrepreneur is the ability to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to, for me, I have to be able to catch my own small thinking. You know, because that's so easy done as well. You know, it's so easy to think, oh, well, you know, I can't move to the next level because I need, you know, I'm to stay in your comfort zone and to be able to step out of it and be brave enough to step out of it is really, really tough. But that's the difference that makes a difference to an entrepreneur.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's really good.
So those are my 3 things. I could probably go on. I've got hundreds, but we'll stick with 3.
And I love the fact that you actually try to answer as much of the you know, the questions and the emails and everything yourself, because very often that's one of the first things that people outsource.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. And I mean, and I have, again, you know, it's not that I haven't thought about it or researched the option of having a bot to answer questions on the site or something like that, but that's just, it's just not me. It's not what I built the community for. I built the community for real, honest connection, you know, not standard answers, not, you know, I'll ask this question and I'll get, you know, a quick Google search and a printed answer back. That's why we have 6 guest editors, and we have guest bloggers and contributors, because I am the first person to put my hand up and say, I don't know everything. You know, I've got a lot of business experience, I've got a lot of startup experience, I've got a lot of life experience and coaching, but I don't know everything. So I like to be able to put something out there that says to people, you know what, I'm human, but if I can't answer your question, I can better know somebody that does, and I'll get you a proper answer.
No, I love that.
And it just makes me feel better.
But you can tell from your content that you put out that there's a lot of heart and soul in it, which is why I'm one of your loyal readers.
I'm glad you like it.
So what is the biggest misconception you've seen people have about starting their own business?
The biggest misconception I find, and I've just talked about this in another article that I've just done for another magazine actually, is that when you're starting out, the biggest thing that I hear is that you've got to have money to get going. It's expensive. I can't start up now because, and it might be money, it might be visibility, it might be time, but it's because you can start anything you want right now today. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You can create your own website. There are so many platforms out there now that you can do this on, and it's either free or cheap, and on nearly all of them you get at least 30 days free to try it out. You know, I think now is it's the best time in history to become an entrepreneur. If that's your dream, there are so few barriers with online communication to just making a start. And I get so many emails from people who say, you know, I can't afford to start a website. I can't afford to run a business. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Yeah. You know, and when I first started blogging, I used a free blog site, and I just used to put out blogs here and there. I didn't have a website or anything. And it got people to follow me. It got people to get interested in the way I write. And again, it opens that line of communication. So if it's a visibility thing, you can start blogging on a free platform. And even if you don't use those blogs in the future, it gets you used to getting your story out. You can blog under a different name, for goodness sake. You know, but when it comes to money, it doesn't have to be expensive to start. You can do it literally on an absolute shoestring.
Yeah.
It's usually an excuse.
That's so true, because I mean, I've coached people where they've used that excuse, and I was like, okay, Facebook business page is free.
Exactly. Business page or a group or a LinkedIn business page, whatever your social platform of choice is, Pinterest. There are so many available resources now, especially for startup businesses.
Yes.
And you can do it.
Yeah. And we definitely live in the information age where you can Google or watch a YouTube tutorial about practically anything in
Yeah,
life
you can. Yeah,
and
you
get
can.
the information for free, where before that was never.
100%.
So, what are the biggest mistakes you see new entrepreneurs make?
Leading back to my last question, actually, I see so many women particularly stalling the start. I'll start when I've got a website, when I've got a mailing list, when I've got followers. You don't need any of that stuff. And it's this procrastination for good reason. And it all comes down to fear. And I've been there, I've done it, and I literally started with 2 followers, my mum and Deb from work. But you can, and it's that thing, isn't it, of you go to put something out there and you're terrified that nobody will read it. I'm going to put this out there and nobody's going to read it and nobody's going to comment. But equally, you're just as terrified that everybody's going to read it and everybody's going to comment. So you can't win. So you might as well just go ahead and put it out, and take the plunge. Because once you've done it once, it gets so much easier. It really does. And once you get into the flow of it and people start saying nice things or commenting about it or giving you feedback, it's, and again, that leads on to the fear of visibility. And that's just fear of judgment. I mean, you and I have talked about this, getting over that first Facebook Live video.
Yeah.
It's really scary. We were just talking before, I've done Facebook Live videos and dropped my phone in the bin. Great. If that had happened to me in the beginning, I would have been horrified. I just went offline and hid. But once you've done it a few times, you're sort of like, okay, I'm back. I just dust that off. We're all good, And you've got to laugh because we're all just human, And I think people respond to people, and the more human you are, the better engagement you're going to get.
No, I love that. And I definitely think that that's something that I see missing in the online entrepreneurial space, that authenticity. Everyone is trying to be so perfect and make it as if their lives are so wonderful and so great. But it's the posts where people show vulnerability, showing what it's really like, showing what it's like, in my case, having 3 children and running a business and, behind the scenes, that connects the audience to you in such a powerful way that I encourage everyone just to drop the facade, because, I mean, we all know better.
100%. Of course you do. And, it's that I write a weekly blog. So I talk a lot about that in my, what we call our she meals on a Friday. I talk about that a lot, and about this picture perfect Instagram life doesn't really exist. You can guarantee just out of shot there's bedlam, especially if someone's got kids, or renovation. There could be this perfect little space. There could be renovations going on over there, kids screaming their faces off over there. Real life doesn't happen in a snapshot, and we have to remember that. And the more real you are, seriously, the better engagement you get. I know that by my own posts. I put a lot of vulnerability out in my community, and it's always incredibly well received.
Yes,
because people buy from people.
That's true. So if you could give our viewers one actionable step they could implement today to improve their CEO mindset, what would that be?
Ooh. I think if I could give you one thing to do every single day that you could stick to, would be, even if you just make it 5 minutes, take yourself off. Everybody's got 5 minutes to lock yourself in the loo, 5 minutes, and try and see the bigger picture. Just take a little bit of time out to take a couple of deep breaths and really visualize where your perfect scenario of where you want it to be. Just take that time, because the more time you can take, the better. But the first thing people say when I say this, I haven't got time for that. I don't have time for that. Yeah, I've got a house to run and kids and 2 businesses, and I've got the car's broken down, and there's all of this stuff. And instantly, I think as women, we bring all of this stuff up because we don't put ourselves first.
Yes.
Very rarely. We used to do an exercise I used to do this in the group all the time with women, and I'd say, okay, get out pieces of paper and say, right, I want you to write down you've got a minute, just write down your top 5 priorities right now. And not one woman in the room ever put themselves at the top of that list.
That's not surprising, but it's quite sad.
It is. Because number 1 on that list should always be you. And that's not selfish. That comes from a place of, if you don't work, and we talk about this all the time in our community, nothing works if you don't.
Yeah.
Not your business, not your family, not your friends, not your communities. If you're not running on full, nobody's going to benefit from you. Nobody gets the best of you, and you don't get the best of you either. So nobody wins. And so I would say, give yourself, even if you start with just 5 minutes every day, a couple of deep breaths, just center yourself, and then try and just imagine the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
And I do that every single day.
No, that's powerful, because I'm a big supporter of self-care and getting women to practice it on a daily basis, instead of, because I found that in my practice quite often as well, that women would think self-care is having a massage when they go on holiday. And I'm like, yeah. We're talking about 2 very separate things here.
They're very different things, but that's the big misconception about self-care. And the biggest misconception about self-care is that it's selfish.
Yeah.
It's not selfish, it's essential. You have to look after yourself, because like I just said, nobody gets the best of you if you're not looking after yourself, especially you.
Yes. There's no point having a family, building this amazing business to give you flexibility and financial freedom and time freedom if you can't actually enjoy it, or if it feels like this massive burden. And once you start taking care of yourself, it all falls into place, and you get to show up in a completely different way.
It's a whole other level. When you look after yourself, everything you show up for is a completely different level.
Yeah, no, that's true. Definitely. So if you could go back in time and restart your journey, knowing what you know now, is there anything that you would have changed within the first 6 months of your business?
Yeah, definitely. I think first and foremost, I would have taken on scheduling more, because in my excitement when for starting out, I was trying to do everything all of the time. So I would get some content, really good content, and write it out and then do a bio and post it. And it would be this constant flow of information, but I'd be constantly uploading stuff, and then it'd be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook community, because everything goes into the community first for the members. Then it would be, that it would be on the website, and I'll have it on the front page. And actually, you know what? There are systems out there for this stuff. You don't need to do this all of the time. So I think I would definitely have embraced scheduling sooner, because I still sit down, I'm still writing the same amount of stuff, I'm still doing the same amount of work, but I don't have this constant pressure that, I was supposed to put that out yesterday, and I promised I'll put that out on Wednesday. And, because inevitably something will come up. It's life. Stuff happens. Shit happens all the time. Yeah. So I would have embraced schedule. That would have made my life so much easier if I just, gotten my head around that earlier. So that's the practical thing. And the other thing I would have done is I actually would have started sooner. So when I talk about women who procrastinate and step back and don't want to get visible and they're a bit scared, that's purely from personal experience. Because once you get going, it gets so much easier, and you stop, that fear dissipates the more you do. So I think I do wish when I'd first thought of it, I didn't sort of, mess around with it as much or play around in my head so much, because I think I allowed that fear to magnify till I was almost ready to think, oh, I'm just not going to do this. And that would have been such a waste. Yeah. It's a huge waste.
I think there's a lot of women that can relate to that, or a lot of women that later on have that regret of, what if I had just done it?
I wish I'd just done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like anything, the time's going to pass anyway.
Yes.
So you can either, arse around, for want of a better word, for the next 6 months and be nowhere, or you can give it a go. The time's going to pass regardless. And in 6 months' time, you could be so much closer to that vision that you've got in those little 5 minutes of every day. You could be there, or, further than you could ever have imagined.
Yes.
Get it done.
No, that's great advice. So what is the best business advice that you've ever received?
Ooh. I think the best business advice, and it's actually more life advice, is that it doesn't have to be a struggle. In my mind, when in all the business that I've worked in, I think there's this thing of, it's got to be hard to be worth it. And it actually doesn't. It can be fun. You can enjoy it. You can actually enjoy your work, and you don't have to struggle through it. You can ask for help. And I think that's the best advice I was ever given, was allow ease. Allow ease to take part of what you do. And I remember hearing that and thinking, right, sure, because that's a thing. But once I'd almost, killed myself trying to do everything. And I actually did allow ease to sort of take place in my business. And now it's a huge part of the business. If something doesn't feel right, or it feels like it's going to be a struggle, I just walk away from it. Not that I walk away from hard work. I don't mean that. This business is always, any business is going to be hard work. You've got to be prepared for that. I mean, my gut feeling, if I get that gut feeling that doesn't bring me ease, or doesn't fill me with, this is going to be amazing, I don't do it.
No, I know exactly what you mean, because I do that as well. Whenever I decide to work on a project or a collaboration, I first go into myself and, what does that feel like? Does that feel like it's going to be fun and exciting and amazing? I always ask myself, if this didn't lead to anything, if it didn't lead to more followers or amazing offers or new business, if I did this just for myself, would I do it? Yes or no?
That's a great way to look at it. I like that.
And if the answer is no, then it's a no for me, regardless of what it could bring, because I have to feel aligned with that. I have to resonate with the work and the person that I would do it with. Otherwise, I just don't do it. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make, especially in the beginning, because they're so excited and they want to be involved in everything and then only realize later on, actually, that wasn't that aligned with me, or that wasn't the message that I actually wanted to be known for, or that's not the partner that was correct for me. So I know what it's like to get excited about things, and you just want to be involved in so many things, but that's really important, is that, does it resonate? Is it aligned? And even if you didn't get a cent for it, would you still want to do it?
Yeah. Would you still love it? Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
So can you describe your morning routine to us?
Yeah. I'm not much of a morning person. I've never been much of a morning person, but I do get up at about 6 o'clock every morning. I'm usually awake by then, but I need coffee. So the first thing I do, I get out of bed. The cats are usually screaming for breakfast. And I make coffee. So I like to just have maybe 10 minutes before I fly into anything to just sit, check my emails, have my cup of coffee, and then I get on with my day. So I like to be at my desk. I'm always at my desk by 9 o'clock. Because I think that no matter which business I'm working on, whether I'm working from home on the female CEO, or whether I'm working in my office on property, I always like to be sat down at my desk and ready to go. And by 9 o'clock, I like to have addressed important emails and flagged what else needs to be done. And then I can start my day.
Oh, that's great. So you are giving our viewers a free gift. Can you please tell us a bit about that?
I can. Well, actually, it's a free gift that's always on offer with the female CEO, because what we don't do is we don't charge. We don't charge for our business. So our website is free. There's tons of stuff on there, as you know. We have different sections. We've got the workroom section, which is all work-related topics, business, sales, marketing, money, that sort of thing. We've got the retreat section, which is all about personal development. and there's all kinds of sections in this. We've got confidence, we've got relaxation, we've got meditations, we've got health and nutrition, all of that, style, coaching, all of that's in there. And so, yeah, for your wonderful summit ladies, we've got free access to the community on Facebook. You'll find that from our actual main Facebook page, and you can come along and join our community. And the community is where we have it's almost a members section. You have to apply to join. And then once you're in there, all of our guest editors are in there. I'm in there all the time. Amazing women like yourself are in there. And what we do is it's a safe space to ask questions. So you come along as an entrepreneur, or you don't have to be in business, to be fair. If you're just looking for connection, confidence, connection, other women that you can bounce off, that's what we're all about. We're all in the same boat. We're just at different stages of the journey. And in there, all of our content goes in there first. So our free training, our magazine, our articles, spotlights, features, everything goes to the community before it goes anywhere else. And that's always free. So we welcome all of your summit ladies to come along and join us.
That's perfect. And ladies, if you are looking to start a business, thinking about it, or you already have, you need to subscribe to the magazine and the weekly she-mails. It will change your life. So do that. The link is underneath this interview, and I look forward to seeing a lot of new members in there. Then you also have a bonus for the viewers that actually buy the summit. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so if you use the link, there will be a link under this interview. You can join our mailing list, and on our mailing list, once you join, we will send you all of the back copies of the magazine. So you'll get a link where you can go back and download all of the copies of our magazine so far. Every month in the magazine, we have a spotlight. You know all about that. Janine is our brilliant spotlight at the moment, which is absolutely wonderful. So you will find Janine on the cover of our magazine, and you can download all the back copies. So you get to keep those, and you can read them on the train. You can keep them on your iPad. There's so much information in there. So when you sign up to our mailing list, you'll get that. And like you said, we'll also offer every single Friday, you'll get an email from me, or she-mail, which is a regular blog, and from myself, and also, we get contributions to that as well, and we'll keep you up to date with what's happening on the site and what's happening in the wider community. We're also going to be running some events later in the year, so if you sign up, you'll be privy to the first events and the early bird tickets. And the other thing we were going to offer is, if you use the link and go to our sign up form just for your summit ladies, is that we're offering space on our community and in our magazine to feature your business. So we're going to give you the chance to put forward your ideas for a blog or for an article about yourself, your business, or what you do. I will read them all personally. As I've said, I'm not Wonder Woman, it takes me time, but I will read through them all, and I will choose 10 of the best, 10 that we feel would be congruent with our magazine and with our site, and we will feature you. So we will put you on in the magazine, on the website, and we'll also mention you in our weekly she-mails, and we will include your links and your bio and your photograph, so we can help you further your businesses.
That's absolutely amazing. So if you want that opportunity to be featured in the Female CEO and that chance to pitch to Tricia, then do make sure that you buy the summit, and all the paid members will receive that link. So your Facebook group, can you quickly tell us a little bit about that, where they can find it?
Yeah, so if you go to our main Facebook page, which is Create, Evolve, Overcome, I think if you search the Female CEO, it should just come up. And in there you'll find all of our articles on the page anyway, but there's a link in there to join the community, and that's where you'll find our members page, which again is completely free to join. You will have to apply to join, and then once you're approved, you'll become part of the group, and you can go in there and you can ask questions, you can vent if you need to. The only thing we don't allow direct advertising in the community. But if you write an article or a blog for us that is approved, we will put you out across all of our social platforms and in the community first as well. So by all means, come along, introduce yourself, tell us all about who you are and what you do. That's great. And we look forward to seeing you in there.
That's amazing. So one last thing before we end off. What is one thing that you know for sure?
Oh, I have to think about this one. Okay, there's a contradiction for you. Surprise, surprise. One thing I know for sure is that I don't know it all. I don't and can't know everything. And I think that's the basis, the foundation really of the business, is that we can't know it all and we can't do it all. So to have a connection and a network of women like we've created is the most amazing thing for us. You know, I don't know everything, and I know for sure that I'm never going to know everything. And so I surround myself with women who know more than I do, and that gives me the space to constantly up-level myself and further my own reach just by meeting these fantastic people.
No, I love that. And I really love the space that you've created, because I mean, there are such fabulous women in there, whether someone's looking for a mentor or just advice from someone who's walked the path already. It's just an amazing, amazing space, and I can't wait to see where it goes next.
It's exciting.
So thank you so much for joining us, making the time, and giving all your tips and advice. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that concludes our summit, and I really hope that you've enjoyed all the expert speakers, the tips, advice, resources that they've put together for you to help you take the next step, become the next best version of yourself, and to have more tools and resources to take your business to the next level that you want to go to. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next year. Bye.